My name is Benton Stokes. I'm a former fundamentalist, post-evangelical worship leader, and songwriter. I enjoy wry Manhattans, roller coasters, and road trips, just not all at the same time.
I'm Elaine O'Rourke, and I'm a teacher, an author, and a spiritual coach. I was a philosophy professor and a liberal pastor in a couple of former lives, and these days, I love aha moments and not-so-dry martinis.
We have conversations about life and God with a queer perspective, over cocktails, like you. This is Cocktail Theology. Today's cocktail is called La Ultima Palabra.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because
you rarely prepare cocktails in foreign languages, so
it's
help
true.
me understand. I mean, I
It's
know
true.
what it means,
It's
but
true.
why is it named in Spanish?
It means the final word, and it is a mezcal-based cocktail.
Okay. It's because we're leaning into the Mexican drinks, beverage, like spirits. Gotcha. Los espíritus. No, that'd be wrong. It's very mezcal-y.
It is.
I could probably do half mezcal, half something else.
Yeah.
Personally. I mean, I like mezcal, but I like it in small doses.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, there are different mezcals too.
For
it's
sure.
Kind of like Scotch. Some of them are really
For
peaty,
sure.
smoky, and some of them are not.
Yeah, exactly. So what's in this besides a quite smoky mezcal?
It's 3 parts mezcal, and then it's 1 part each. Green chartreuse,
Okay.
sweet vermouth, and lime juice.
Sweet vermouth, really?
Yeah.
It doesn't have any of that color. I wonder what would happen if you did like 2 of that and then yellow chartreuse. I'm just remaking the forget it. Never mind. So what's on your mind today, friend? Because I'm just creating a whole new cocktail. But given the one I made last time, I leave this and I say, this is quite tasty. I wouldn't change a darn thing.
No, I'm with you. I think I would split the mezcal with maybe tequila or something else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Or a white rum. That could be good because that would go
That
with
could
that.
be really good.
That would go with the other things too.
yeah.
Anyway, so what are we talking about beside mezcal?
Well, after our last recording, the episode on outrage, you and I were having a conversation, and I shared that in my personal prayer time, I was sort of dealing with the concept of righteous anger. We had just spent an episode, and we'd had multiple conversations up to that, talking about unwarranted outrage, and I think unwarranted outrage is a real problem. This is not to diminish anything that we said, but anger in and of itself is not wrong or evil or bad.
Right.
Even though many of us grew up believing that it was wrong to express our anger.
Right.
That anger was something you dealt with, on your own, and that's actually quite unhealthy.
Right.
But it got me thinking about the idea of righteous anger.
Right.
Or well-ordered anger. And I think given all of the injustice that we're seeing in our country right now and throughout the world right now, I think anger is completely called for. I think expressing that anger in ways that are productive, meaning putting your energy towards something that can affect change, in maybe even building community where all of us are concerned about the same thing and all of us have an anger about a situation that we see and a wrong that's being carried out. These kinds of anger are called for, and certainly in the Bible there are lots of evidences of people that we consider to be godly or heroes of the faith or even Jesus being angry and expressing that anger. And some of it's even expressed, like, pointed to God. David in the Psalms,
For sure.
does a lot of that. And so I thought it might be good to talk about anger as a not a knee-jerk thing, not just hair trigger outrage that
Right.
so many of us seem to be prone to right now, but something that is thought through and measured, but honest. And targeted.
So much in what you just said. I'm really glad you brought it up. And I'm really glad it came up during your prayer time. Because I think that is one of the places, knowing you, that you are the most vulnerable and most honest. Rather than necessarily in even your conversations with me, right? And so it means that when it came up, it came out of something that was real for you. And I appreciate you sharing that and talking about it.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's important. I also want to say that at least from my perspective, our last episode wasn't about diminishing anger. It was about outrage, as you pointed out, about outrage as being our immediate response to anything that feels like a minor affront.
Right.
That I would immediately be outraged if someone said their cereal was better than mine. And I think that a lot of us are running on hair triggers.
Yeah.
I just want to lift up that that's what our episode was about.
Yeah.
This kind of automatic outrage is not good.
No.
It's not holy. It's all the things it's not.
Right.
So I want to make sure we're clear about that. So then, as you were just describing this, there were a couple of things you said that I really want to tease out. So the first one is that a lot of us have been taught that anger is not okay, or it's natural but shouldn't be expressed because it's inappropriate for polite company.
Yeah.
Or that anger is dangerous. Like all of those things about anger. So I want to hold that one up. The second one I want to hold up is you use the phrase well-ordered. And I think that's a really important phrase because part of what we do in spiritual formation, part of what we do as followers of anybody sane is use what we learn about ourselves and about God, or however you want to phrase God, about the way that the world, in the big sense of the world, operates, to have well-ordered emotions. I used to say that emotions should be clues, not cues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that when we have an emotion, we can use it to figure out what the heck's going on.
Right.
Rather than the emotion being the thing that gets us to go do something.
Right.
So I want to lift up all those things that you said and really kind of play with those a little
Yeah.
bit. The other thing you said that I thought was important that I want to kind of deal with first is you talked about how anger happens in the Bible. It happens a lot. And God gets angry. Jesus gets angry. Lots of people get angry. David writes about his anger. You know, there's the crushing of babies' heads against rocks, which I admit that there are times when I feel for David right at that moment. But it's also really important for me to say, yes, and vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Exactly, yes.
And so remembering that God is the only one with truly well-ordered anger.
That's true.
That understanding that our outrage, our rage, our anger, while it can be a clue to what needs to happen next, we need to be really clear. It is not our job to go about punishing people.
No.
Go about allowing our anger to dictate our actions.
Right.
And because we think of anger as being red and loud, cold anger is more dangerous in my mind. Because we may not express our anger in this kind of loud, outragey way. We may not break things. We may not throw things. We may not yell things. But we can be really evil in cold anger. Remembering that God is the one who's actually able to do this, I think is important. One of our listeners sent us an article from Sojourners, which used to be a paper magazine and is now online. And Sojourners is directly political, directly on the left 99.9% of the time.
Okay.
And has always been a religious political voice towards liberalism, progressivism, and so forth for a long, long time.
Okay.
I don't always agree with everything in Sojourners. However, one of the things that it pointed out was this movement that Pete Hegseth is part of and that others are part of that really are about violence and not even a winning the country for God, but more like reconstructing the country in a way that reflects this very specific view of God.
Yeah.
That is gross.
Yeah. Yes.
And the reason I say it's gross is not just because I disagree with it, but because if you read scripture, their description of God is much more like the Bible's description of Baal
Wow.
and the history of Baal
Wow.
than it is of Yahweh.
Yeah.
And to me, when I read what they're talking about, I get really angry. Part of it's because they're perfectly willing to destroy people's lives who disagree with them. Mm-hmm. But also because they're misrepresenting who the God of the Bible is, and that pisses me off.
All the time, yeah.
All the time. If your God would be the kind of God who would tell Abraham to sacrifice his son and not send in a ram at the end, you might wonder who you're actually worshiping.
Right. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of anger that I'm sure that most of them feel, along with a certain kind of triumphalism.
Yes.
That's really not acceptable anger. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to the anger that is acceptable. Mm-hmm. If it's okay with you, mm-hmm. I want to kind of drill down on that feeling that anger is not okay.
Yeah, please.
I was not reared with the idea that anger is not okay. Mm-hmm. I was brought up with the idea that women should express their anger in one way, men can express their anger in all kinds of ways.
Okay.
So maybe, can you talk a little bit about that from your own personal experience? Because your experience with that may resemble others of our listeners that mine doesn't. Because anger is not easy for you.
No, expressing anger is not easy for me. I think a lot of it was, I grew up in the South, so there was a premium placed on manners. You mentioned what you can and can't say in polite company, and that's real. Another thing, as I got older, I was taught, whether implicitly or explicitly, that as one matures, one should be able to handle one's anger better.
And what does handle one's anger mean?
Like, if you have issue with someone, working it out in your own heart and mind so that you can talk calmly with the other person about what it is. So reacting or acting in anger would be a sign of spiritual immaturity. Like if someone were to disparage my integrity, mm-hmm. Or challenge my reputation or something like that, mm-hmm. that I shouldn't react angrily, that it's okay to defend myself.
Okay.
But that anger, in some cases, even reinforces what's being said about me.
Okay. I have a lot of problems with all of this.
Well, it's problematic in all kinds of ways.
But I think the problem that I'm having is an intellectual one here.
Okay.
So I want to distinguish for me the difference between feeling angry and behaving angrily.
Okay.
One of the challenges I see in the way you just described that, where if you get angry, you go deal with it, then you come back and you talk about it, mm-hmm. right? It was funny because I was recently doing premarital counseling. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that one of the partners tended to do was to go off, figure out how they were feeling, figure out what the solution was to it, figure out all of the details, possibly think about maybe what their partner was feeling and so forth, mm-hmm. and come back and present it like a box.
Yeah.
And while I understand that, mm-hmm. and being an excellent box maker myself, the problem with that is that even though it feels like what you're doing is dealing with your anger, what you're really doing is saying, I'm going to give you something completely impermeable that you need to accept. Rather than, for example, saying, I'm really angry right now. I need a minute to kind of calm down so I can talk about this. Or I need to go off and be angry. I mean, expressing the anger so the other person can participate in relationship with you.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the problem with not actually expressing one's feelings, mm-hmm. is that the other person is left out in the cold.
Yeah.
The other person has no way of interacting with this.
Yeah.
It's the same problem as throwing things, breaking things, because the other person can't engage. The other person is the victim on the other side of it.
Sure, right.
So going back to that well-ordered idea.
Yeah.
There's something about practicing in your life well-ordered responses to things in general. Mm-hmm. Practicing spiritual discipline, practicing feeling the anger, acknowledging that you're anger, maybe punching a punching bag, whatever the thing, twisting a towel to mm-hmm. get the energy out. And then being able to talk about it in a way that the other person can engage.
Yeah.
Because so often we are angry over things that the other person has not a clue that we're angry,
Right.
or what they've done,
Right.
or any of that, right? So that well-ordered piece is really important.
Yeah.
Instead, what I'd like to say is that part of righteous anger is learning and practicing how to express it in a way that engages with others and builds toward the kind of life you want people to have. So I think there's something in that about righteous anger. So Jesus' overturning the tables was bad behavior, but it was, he didn't hurt anybody,
Right.
and it was demonstrative, and he then did things that were constructive on top of it.
Yeah.
He didn't leave it at, I'm going to pick up my
Right.
basketball and go home.
Right.
Or whatever it was Jesus would have picked up. Right? So there's something about that.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so thank you. That was helpful. So how do you think that we can, besides learning about ourselves, learning how to name what we're feeling, engaging others in that conversation? That's why the Psalms are so great, right? Because the Psalms are like, another thing, God,
Right.
and long run, I trust you.
Yes.
But meanwhile, and another thing, and God can handle it. So besides the practicing of discipline, the getting to know ourselves, the finding ways to express the energy of anger in a way that is not destructive to other people or destructive to our relationships, how do you think that we might use our anger at this time to help build something better than what we're seeing right now? Any thoughts about that?
I think it's easy to be overwhelmed by the inundation of things to be outraged about. Legitimately outraged about. And that is part of the strategy of what's going on with this administration, is to keep us overwhelmed.
Yes.
Because if you're overwhelmed, you don't really act.
That's
you
right.
just sit in your seething or your fear or your tears or whatever you sit in, and you don't do anything.
That's right.
So I think one of the things that is important is to channel that anger into just like, choose one direction. Don't try to fix all these things or contribute to the fixing of all these things, because nobody can do that. But you could choose one big issue, and you could start drilling down on that in ways that can help you feel like you're doing something, and you are doing something. You know, if you are canvassing for a candidate you believe in, if you are advocating for people who have a difficult time advocating for themselves, children, immigrants, if you are giving money to causes, if you have the money to do that, giving money to causes that are helping feed people in areas where food is scarce or it's dangerous to even get to. I think choosing something where you feel like you can make a difference, and then working really hard to make a difference in whatever way that you can, I think that's a good way to sort of channel all of that and to challenge yourself.
Yes.
To be persistent with that and continue to route that anger and that frustration and that deep, deep concern that you have in this direction. Even though there may be 100 other things that are worthy of your attention, you can't give it to everything.
That's right.
Because you'll just be overwhelmed and then you won't do anything.
Yeah, I agree completely. And recognizing that when you don't take action, the frustration about your inactivity fuels your anger.
It sure does.
So remembering that actually taking constructive action, even if it's small, helps with the anger,
Yes.
right? I was thinking as you were talking just about things like driving people to the polls,
Yeah.
or posting thoughtfully on your social media,
Yes.
or listening to somebody you disagree with. If you can actually listen and listen for why they got there, not where they are, but why they got there, that can be really helpful as well to defuse some of the anger, and can be really constructive as well.
Absolutely.
Right? But there are so many things that, just small things that we can do right now that help that anger turn into something useful. Prayer. I mean,
Yes.
I know we tend to talk about prayer as if it's this poo-poo kind of thing. Our listeners don't know, but we know that we've been praying with others about the situation on a daily basis. And just hearing people's completely different views of what's going on right now has been incredibly helpful to my anger.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right. Even people I basically agree with have very different views of what's happening. And that's actually kind of made my anger simmer down a little bit.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because it reinforces the breadth of human experience for me, which then makes me recognize the breadth of human experience outside of people who agree with me.
Yeah.
So stuff like that has been helpful. And finding those places, frankly, to express your rage in ways that are useful. Write the editorial letter. Write to your congresspeople. Even if it feels like there's no point in doing it, do it anyway. Make the freaking phone call. They count phone calls. They count letters. Those things matter to them.
They do.
And particularly if you're registered as a Republican, please do this. If you're not registered as a Republican, you might want to consider re-registering as a Republican so your voice actually matters in some places, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So there are things like that you can do that are ordered anger that don't then automatically lean to outrage over trivia, but instead lead to a construction of God's kingdom that we want to see for everybody.
Yes, 100%.
That's where I am. I got nothing else.
That was great.
Otherwise, I'm going to start quoting Jeremiah Wright and Malcolm X and people like that, and that would take us in a whole different direction.
It would. Listeners, we love hearing from you. What are your thoughts on anger? Were you like me and grew up in an environment, and maybe in your church or in your home, where anger was viewed as something that you keep to yourself? How have you learned to express anger in healthy ways, in ways that can actually make a relationship stronger maybe, or strengthen your own view of yourself? Honestly, self-respect sometimes comes from expressing your anger.
Yes.
So we would love to hear from you. We love your comments. You can disagree with us. That's fine. You can give us questions. You can, like our listener did, forward us articles that you've been reading that seem to be motivating you or making you go, wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. We love to read those things too.
Yep.
So please do reach out. Cocktailtheology.com is where you will find us. Please like, subscribe, and share wherever you are listening right now, because that helps other people find us.
And if you have cocktail suggestions that don't involve very smoky mezcal, or, in my case, that require measurement, please send those to us as well.
Please do. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Funny how the view can change, how life just seems to rearrange itself, no matter what it was. I don't know how it goes, but look, moving on feels pretty good. Moving on feels pretty good.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and hit subscribe wherever you're listening right now. We welcome your comments, questions, and ideas for conversations and for cocktails. Please get in touch with us at our website, cocktailtheology.com. Cocktail Theology is a production of SFS. Our theme song is Moving On Feels Pretty Good, recorded by yours truly, Benton Stokes. You can find my music wherever you stream your favorite artists. Join us next Thursday for another new episode.